Hello and welcome back to the Heathocracy for another 3D pen creation. Today I'm going to be trying something a little bit different. I'm going to be trying to make what's called a Shambling Mound, and that is a giant, basically compost heap that has come to life, and it comes to attack your players. And here's a picture of what one's supposed to look like. Now there's multiple images online. I searched, just did a basic Google search for Shambling Mound, and this is the one that I found, and it's the one that I wanted to use. So you see me here. I'm going to go ahead and start making the frame on it. And this is the first model I made entirely out of PLA plastic. I did away with the ABS and used entirely PLA in order to make this model. And let me tell you, if you use a 3D pen or you want to try to use a 3D pen, trust me, PLA is 1,000 times easier to work with. It's more malleable, it doesn't get as hot, it's easier to shape as it cools down, and it certainly comes out in a nice fluid extrusion, so it's a lot easier to use. If you notice, I've been making large creatures with the 3D pen. That's because it's really going to be difficult to make anything smaller than that as far as details go. 3D pen does not lend itself easily to making small details. So you see me here, I'm finishing up the frame, and I'm trying to make this really much bigger than I've made the other two things that I've created, so that it really stands out. Now, Shambling Mound, the lore of the game is that basically a giant pile of swamp vegetation gets hit by a bolt of lightning, and it comes to life as a real-life kind of swamp thing creature. And they're very difficult to kill, and I really hope to get a chance to use one in my campaign coming up soon, because it'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be even cooler because now I'll have a miniature to do it with. I used white to make the frame because I have an abundance of white. Now you see me using this brownish color, and as I was using it, I'm realizing this is actually more of kind of like a bronzish color than a brownish color, and I was really hoping that afterwards it would dull out a little bit and not be as shiny. When I'm flushing things out like this, I've set my pen to the highest temperature it allows for PLA, which for the scribbler that I'm using is 200 degrees. And that's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And when you're doing it at that high temperature, it comes out kind of smoother, and it fills in any of the gaps in the structure, so that you're not just having just a line of filament, you're having kind of a moldable piece of plastic. And I do that for all the times that I'm flushing out these large sections. When I go to do some of the smaller details, I do reduce either the speed or the temperature. It makes it a lot easier. Right now I have it set at the highest speed, just because that's the easiest way to fill in these details, or rather, these larger details. But when I do the smaller details, you'll see me slow it down here in a minute. Well, you won't really see anything slowed down. It's all at about 8 to 10 times speed. Here I am using black to make the face and actually kind of push it in, and I'm able to make kind of a concave section where the eyes are going to sit at later on. Now the arms, originally when I made them, they were a little too short, so I'm using the brown here to extend them out. And this is what I meant by I lowered the temperature down so that I could make these little spirals coming out like that. That allowed me to make sections of it that were long and malleable, and I could use them. And here in a minute you're going to see me on this arm. I'm actually going to use that to make the fingers of this for this thing's hand. Flushing out the one of the arms here. I did one of the arms entirely out of wood, and I added some details afterwards, and the other arm I did a lot more with the green. You see here, if you look at it, you can see the kind of the shiny bronzishness of that brown color. And later on, when I get to the wood burner, it does in fact dull out that color a little bit, and you can see a visible difference if you're looking at it now versus looking at it here in a minute. Alright, so you can see the arms as I've made them here. You can see that I made the fingers on them. And again, that was using the lowered temperature to just kind of wiggle a little mound of filament out there in order to make those shapes. And when you do that, by the way, you have to squeeze that filament as it's still hot, and it can be a little warm. But that's another good thing about using the PLA is, when you're doing the PLA at 160 degrees, and that's what I meant by cooled down, it's a whole lot easier to handle than when you're doing the ABS at like 220 or 210 degrees. And here I am with the wood burner. I smoothed everything out. You can see, based on just looking at where that brown is, you can see that the color's dulled a lot more than that original kind of a bronzish color, and I think it looks really great. I actually used the wood burner in a bunch of different places just to add some details here or there, as well as smooth out the textures. If you guys have any suggestions, tips, or comments, please feel free to either leave them in the Reddit post where this has originated, or put them down into the comment section below. And please, I have every intention of continuing this, so go ahead and subscribe if you want to see a whole lot more of these things. I think I'm getting a lot better with each and every model I make, and I think it's really going to show. You're going to see at the end of this here. I'm really proud of how this one turned out. Here's the base. That's just a simple black circle, but because I have the wood burner now, I didn't worry about it looking as I didn't worry about the texture on top of it. Just smooth everything out afterwards. Here I am adding a few more little details, again using that lowered temperature to make these viney things coming off of them. And you can see that, it works. It works really well. I wanted to add as many vines and details coming off as possible, just to make it look like it was a living, or at least at one point had been a living organism. Finishing up with a few more pieces of wood jutting out of the sides of this thing, some knots in the wood. And I flushed all those out afterwards as well. Just kind of smoothed them out with the wood burner as well. Made these branches coming out of his face almost make him look like tusks. I thought that looked pretty awesome. And of course he had to have one sticking right out of the top of his head there. Used a lighter to heat up some of this stuff and put it in the position I wanted it at, and I think we are about done. You can see that finishing it up. And again, you're going to see a shot of the original next to the completed product here in a minute, or at least the original image that I went off of. And I'm really proud of how this one turned out. I think it looks really good next to the original image. Yeah, it's not perfect to the image. I probably could have added a lot more vine work to it and a lot more details to it, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. If you guys liked it, go ahead and hit the like button for me if you think it looks good, and if not, leave me a negative comment, because I appreciate those too. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Please feel free to subscribe, because there will be a lot more of these coming down the line, and I would love some suggestions as to things you guys would like to see me try to make. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. You guys keep being awesome. Thanks, and God bless.